Okay, the next part of the Automobile Blocks T9 we're going to work on is the passenger base. This goes inside the passenger section of the vehicle. It's a little plastic molded piece that is permanently actually glued in, but it is a plastic piece where each passenger has a different shaped base, and so we need to create a different shaped cutout for the passenger to slide into. On the screen you can see what it's going to look like. It's green to match the Automobile Blocks features. There's a circle, a square, a triangle, and a star cutout. Okay, I'm going to start walking through this, but just an FYI, this is going to be an activity that you're presented a challenge. Okay, to see if you can problem solve and kind of an instant challenge, if you will. I'm going to show you quickly just the big idea of how to get this part. But I'm going to leave the star as the challenge for you. If for some reason you really can't get it, I will have on Angel or Schoology, whichever LMS we're using, I will have a sketch that includes the star that you could go back and use to start if that's something you couldn't do. But I'm going to let you try to do that one on your own. It's a little bit more tricky. However, this course is designed to get you to problem solve and think and see if you can apply the tools that you've learned. So give it a shot. Okay, so to create this, let's go ahead and start a new file. I'm just showing you what it's going to look like in the end. So we're going to do a new part file. And we're going to start with a 2D sketch. I'm going to use a 2-point rectangle. And the dimensions here on my sheet show an overall width of 1.975. Hit tab. An overall height of 1.590. Hit enter. Right click OK to turn off the rectangle tool. And I see a radius at all the corners of 0.20. If you made this corner at the origin, you may have trouble selecting this corner. You may need to select the two sides. After selecting two sides that intersect, it'll create the fillet at that corner. Okay. Right here on this sketch, we're going to begin creating our shapes. It'll be one extrusion, just minus the shapes. So we'll start in the top left corner. I want to make sure I don't start making my circle somewhere where there's going to be a constraint. We'll dimension it into place. So just get a circle created to the right size. 0.580 is our numerical constraint for the size of that circle. And then you can use the dimension tool. The center of this circle, circles are placed by their center, is supposed to be 0.490 inches from the left side of our rectangle. And then I'll use the dimension tool to right click the center as well as the top, and it is supposed to be 0.340 inches from the top. Now our circle has been dimensioned or constrained into place. Right click and say OK. And if I grab this circle, you notice that I can't move it. The overall shape, because I didn't start at the origin, can move. We can go ahead and fix. I'm going to right click here. Oh, not right click, I'm sorry. I'm going to use the lock feature. I'm going to choose a point on the sketch just to kind of lock the sketch into place. So now if I try to grab it and move it, I can't. And notice my sketch has been fully constrained. You always want to make sure your sketch can't move. Okay, next let's do the square. Use a 2-point rectangle. And the width of this is 0.580. Hit tab, 0.580. Right click and say OK to turn off the rectangle tool, and now we're going to dimension it into place. This is supposed to be 0.05 inches from the top, so I can choose the top of the rectangle and the top of the passenger base and dimension that to be 0.05. The distance it is from the edge here on the sheet I can see is 0.20. Right click and say OK. Now after you go through and make these dimensions, you can always come back and make sure your dimension tool is off, but with it off you can go around and then remove these to make sure that the bigger dimensions are further away, the shorter ones are in closer, okay, to keep it as clean as possible. Last, we're going to have this triangle. I don't have a triangle tool right here, so I'm just going to use a line, and I'm going to make a rectangle or a triangle really quick. And right now it should be able to move around and change size, but you know what I want? I want to dimension one size to be 0.638. Oh, right click. Before I do that, that's not constraining. Well, this should work. Let's try it. Dimension, it's only constraining the vertical distance between those 2 points to be the 0.638 I see on my sheet. But let's go ahead and also use our vertical constraint for that segment. And so now we keep that segment vertical as well as the vertical distance between those 2 points. And that's how it appears in the drawing. Now I'm going to use the equal geometric constraint, and I'm going to say that these sides have to be equal. And then I'm going to say that this side and this side have to be equal. That creates a equilateral and equiangular triangle. Equilateral triangles are always equiangular. It means all three angles are equal and they're all 60 degrees. Next, I need to dimension into place. And I can see a horizontal distance from this right vertex in the right side here to be 0.20. And then I see a vertical distance from this vertex to the bottom to be 0.05. Right click and say OK. Now, the challenge is for you to try to play around with the star. Go over here and give you a quick view if you'd like, but I would like you to try to figure it out if you can. There are two concentric circles, two circles sharing a center. They have different diameters. Pull those off your sheet. And then the star is really just made with the line tool, lines that have been constrained, one point constrained to the outer circle and the next constrained to the inner circle. I'll give you a heads up that if you're going through trying to make these, try to create these segments such that there isn't a constraint applied, some other constraint other than the one that the point has to be on the circle. Sometimes you start to move into position and it kind of snaps to a point where there's going to be another constraint. So try to avoid those in the initial construction of your lines so that the lines are still free to move. If you accidentally create a line that has a constraint and it's not free to move, just hit undo or delete that line, right click and delete it, and then recreate a new one. But you want them to be able to move. Then you want to go back and work on making them all equal. And lastly, you want to make a point, one of these points, be vertical from the center. And that's kind of a hint as well, vertical. These 2 points should be vertical. So think of your constraints. Okay. We'll assume that that one is there. You can hit Finish Sketch and then Extrude, or E is a shortcut. And you want to make sure that you choose everything but those shapes for your extrusion. Okay, the extrusion on my sheet I can see is 0.30 inches. And lastly, we're going to shell this part out. This right here is the front, or the top that's going to be facing up. We want to shell the back side, so you want to flip this around. I'm going to choose the top back corner to kind of flip it around to see the back. Maybe even it helps I turn it this way. But this underside is going to get shelled out. So you can use the shell tool, you can choose the underside, and we want a shell thickness of 0.01. Okay, and then we're going to change our color to a clear green one. Actually, that part wasn't clear green, was it? It was just green. So we'll try to find a green here that works. Let's see what that green palette. No, we don't want that. I can go back to generic. this part may be better just to color with our color wheel. Okay, so we want it to be a solid green. And there's your part, minus the star. Give the star your best shot, okay? And if you really can't do it, then you can go get the file off of the LMS to help you out.